Hello students, welcome to Immienglish.com, the one-stop solution for ESL examination and immigration services. In this video, we will learn about section 2 of listening model. So let's begin. Before we begin, let us rewind the structure of section 2. Just like section 1, there are always 10 questions in this section. The entire section is divided into mostly 2 parts and rarely 3 parts. Most of the time this section is a monologue, a communication between a speaker and audience, and you can expect a situation in which the speaker is giving instructions in public places like zoo, bus station, airport, library or any club. You will be asked a variety of questions like form filling, MCQ, short answers, sentence completion, diagrams or maps. Now let us see an example to understand this section in a better way. Before we begin, let's see the example first. As I already said in the last video, you should always remember to read the instructions first. They are important and hence never skip them. The instructions specifically ask you to take only 3 items from the list that are mentioned in the news headlines. These are the news headlines. You have to take 3 answers from all these options. Now let's listen the recording and you should try to answer the questions. The recording starts now.
This is the 6 o'clock news for Tuesday the 25th of November. And first the headlines. The Prime Minister has promised to help the drought-stricken farmers in the northern part of the country who haven't seen rain for nearly 2 years. And in Sydney, a group of school children are successfully rescued from a plane which landed in the sea shortly after takeoff. Transport workers are on strike in Melbourne over a pay claim, and the strike looks set to spread to other states. And on a fashionable note, there's to be a new look for the staff of Qantas, Australia's national airline.
Done. I hope you attempted all the 3 questions from the example. If not, then I repeated a number of times earlier to make appropriate guesses. You should never leave the answer blank. Now let's check the solution and see how many correct answers you have. Remember, if all of your answers are correct, then you did a fantastic work. And if not, then also don't worry. This is just the first time you are going to attempt this type of questions. A little practice and you will be fine. Let's check the solution. Okay, the first correct answer is E. Passengers rescued from plane. The recording clearly mentioned about students being rescued from a plane and not the ship. You can also see that the passengers rescued from ship, but the recording mentioned plane and not ship. So you have to use some common sense in it. Anyone who is on board the plane or ship is a passenger. So this one was tricky. You should expect this a lot in the IELTS exam. In the recording it was said that students were rescued from the plane. Students were passengers, so passengers rescued from the plane. That's why this is the correct answer. The second correct answer was very clear and obvious, in which the bus and train drivers were going on a strike if their demands were not fulfilled. So this one was easy. Lastly, it was also very clear and obvious, in which the speaker clearly mentioned about the new uniform of the Qantas staff. That's why H is the correct answer. Now you can see that 2 answers were exact matching words from the recording and only one was tricky. You will always have such questions from section 2. That's why this section is again easy but slightly tricky as compared to section 1. Now let's proceed to the second part of section 2. Alright, what is the first thing we are supposed to do? Try to remember. Finished? I hope you got it. It is reading the instructions. However, there are no instructions in the second part. For those who noticed it, great work. For those who didn't, please pay attention. Have a cup of coffee. So, the instructions is no more than 3 words. Remember, no more than 3 words. Now the recording will start.
Well, last week we talked about buying camping equipment, and today I'd like to talk to you about buying a bicycle. A simple enough exercise, you might imagine, but there are lots of things to look out for to make sure you get the best deal for your money. Well, the range of bicycles is enormous. There are racing bikes, touring bikes, mountain bikes, or just plain ordinary bikes for riding around town. They vary enormously in 2 basic ways: price and quality. This means that the choice you make will probably be determined by the amount of money you want to pay, your own personal needs, what is actually available, or a compromise of all 3 things. However, in broad terms, you can spend anything from $50 to $2,000 on a bike, so you'll need to know what you're looking for. Single-speed cycles, that is bikes with no gears, are really only suited to short, casual rides. Their attraction is their simplicity and reliability. After years of neglect, they still manage to function, though not always too efficiently. If it's basic transport you're after, then you can't go wrong. 3-speed cycles, on the other hand, are all that is really necessary for most town riding, going to the shops and things like that. Like the single-speed bike, they're simple and reliable. If you are going to be going up and down lots of hills, then you'll probably want something more efficient.
Done. I hope that you attempted all the questions. From the recording, only the last 2 questions were a little bit difficult, but the first 3 questions were extremely easy. Now let's check the solution and how many correct answers you have. So the first answer is mountain. It was clearly mentioned in the recording. The second answer is quality. Again clearly mentioned. The third answer was also easiest. It was a clear number with no trick at all, and it was $2,000. Now the fourth answer was little tricky, as the recording provided lots of information about a single speed bike. However, if you hear the recording clearly, then it did mention that they are useful for short or casual rides only. That's the reason the answer is either short rides or casual rides. You can ride any one of them. It's not necessary that you have to ride short/casual rides. I hope you got it. And the last one was the most difficult to find from the tons of information provided, but with a little focus, you could really identify shopping or town riding. I hope most of you got at least 4 answers correct. If not, don't worry, it's the first time. As I said earlier, you should have at least 95% accuracy in this section to get a better score. Now let's see some important points to remember. The first and the most important point is that you should not make more than 1 mistake in this section, as this section is slightly tough as compared to the first section. The second point is to take your time and read the questions carefully, because this section is always divided into 2 parts. In this section, you will be given sufficient time. However, try to take a glimpse of few questions from the section 4 too, if you can. It's not necessary. The most important point to remember is that you should not leave any blank answers. Always make a guess using your common sense. No spelling mistake. I hope you remember that. Lastly, follow the instructions and don't exceed the word limit for the answers. That's all. This brings us to the end of section 2 in the listening module. I hope you have found this video informative. In the next video, we will learn about section 3. If you like this video, then please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and support us to bring you quality content and tips. See you in the next video. For any questions, please raise a topic in the forum. The link is available in the description. Take care.